We've all undoubtedly stepped on this relationship break. You send her an entire poem about your deep feelings and how important she is, and in return, you get a dry, disheartening, "okay," or "I see." This instantly clips your wings and makes you doubt your own value. You cancel your important plans, work meetings, or workouts the moment you hear her call, demonstrating absolute availability, while she can disappear for a day without any explanation or a hint of remorse, leaving you in anxious uncertainty. You're already mentally picturing a shared future, a joint mortgage, and a dog, planning every step, yet she hasn't even decided if she should spend one more evening with you, keeping you emotionally hooked. Your phone has turned into a personal altar, where you tremblingly await her message like the Holy Grail, while your name in her chat list is collecting dust somewhere between work spam, promotional mailings, and food delivery. You've subtly transformed into an emotional service, a kind of handyman for her self-esteem, available 24/7, and now you sit, puzzling over why there's such coldness and distance. Why does she see you as a convenient plan B or a backup plan, and not the main goal in her life worth fighting for? This colossal imbalance, where you invest the energy of an entire power plant and she invests a flashlight battery, is the root of your problem. This isn't about love, it's about value. She instinctively reads that you value her more than you value yourself, that she occupies the priority place in your life. This is precisely why your presence becomes like background noise for her. You are there, and it requires no effort or investment from her. Your attention has become free and guaranteed, and what is free is never valued. Let me reveal the principle that has been a turning point for thousands of men. The only way to make her value you is to become genuinely valuable. Your worth must be self-evident. And the only way to make her fear losing you is to sincerely show that your life is your strong, self-sufficient fortress, and you will do perfectly fine without her. This is the key to rebuilding the relationship dynamic. The fundamental principle: mirror investment. Here is the golden rule that most men stubbornly ignore by showering a girl with excessive attention and resources. The dynamic of investment must be strictly mutual. You must reflect her actual level of interest, like a mirror, and not try to desperately buy it with your generosity and availability. This is a fundamental law of interaction that cannot be broken. If she replied after 4 hours, your reply, by default, also won't be immediate. Give her time to feel the difference. Is she writing in yes, no, I don't know mode? You reply to her in the same laconic style, not wasting effort on emotional essays. If she cancelled a date for a trivial reason, your future availability must decrease exponentially, becoming a valuable resource. When you constantly give her a bonus for minimal effort, you non-verbally communicate a very dangerous thing. My time, attention, and emotions are worth nothing. You can get them for free. This is not low-grade mind games, as this approach is often called. It is, first and foremost, emotional calibration based on an adequate perception of reality. You simply stop investing 100% of yourself in a person who is investing only 5%. This is a matter of personal dignity and common sense. I had an acquaintance who, for a long time, flooded his girlfriend with long emotional messages while her replies never exceeded 2 words. He mistakenly believed that such emotional pressure would compensate for her coldness and make her melt. I advised him to make a total energy copy of her behavior. Reply briefly, focus exclusively on his own affairs, and become less available. He literally took her off the pedestal that he himself had built, shifting the focus back to himself. The result was immediate. After a couple of weeks, she started texting him, "Why are you so distant? Are you okay? Let's meet. I need to talk to you." She engaged in the dynamic because he was no longer her personal, guaranteed fountain of validation. This process is like tuning a radio. You must listen to her frequency and adjust to it. You cannot play a loud rock concert if your partner is barely plucking the strings. She calls once a week? Great. That's your new, comfortable pace. Don't suffocate her interest with your excessive pressure and availability. This is not punishment or manipulation. It is respect for your own energy and an adequate reading of her actual level of interest. The danger of emotional oversaturation. The main problem: you project your intense infatuation and idealization onto a girl who is, in fact, only mildly interested. In your head, you've already bought the ring and planned the honeymoon, while she is simply glad that she's not bored in the evenings, and you conveniently fill emotional gaps. You build castles in the air, seeing her as your destiny, while she sees you as only a pleasant but non-essential background that is easily replaceable. Your internal picture of the world drastically diverges from the external reality of her attitude toward you. You are living for the future, and she is living in a comfortable present at your expense. This dissonance and gap in expectations kills attraction faster than anything else. Attraction is fueled by intrigue, challenge, and space to develop, like oxygen. But you don't let her breathe. You are constantly present. You fill every inch of that space with your total availability and readiness. You turn yourself from a mystery into an open book that is no longer interesting to read. No one values what is attained without effort, and that is a harsh law of psychology. No one fears losing someone who desperately clings to their hand and whose entire demeanor screams need. This is human nature. We value what requires effort, and we distance ourselves from what tries to consume us or limit our freedom. Balance in a relationship is not about dominance or manipulation. It's about a healthy balance of power and investment. When you emotionally overload the relationship, you create a dangerous imbalance that is guaranteed to lead to your devaluation in her eyes. Your excessive investment becomes her comfortable zone of inaction. This is the psychology. Scarcity creates value. Abundance creates neglect. If a person gives you their whole self, without conditions, then why should you bother struggling and growing to earn their attention? Their approval is already in your pocket, and it's unconditional. The moment you become predictable and guaranteed, all motivation to fight for you or fear your departure disappears. You rob her of the possibility of experiencing healthy anxiety for the relationship. Genuine scarcity, your reality. Playing hard to get is a cheap, transparent trick that is visible from a mile away and only causes irritation. But being unavailable because your life is genuinely thriving, that is real power. This is not about waiting for a timer before replying, but a genuine lack of free time because you are occupied with things that are more important to you. Your time is your most valuable resource. When you have a real mission, concrete goals, friends, hobbies, and interests, your time becomes scarce automatically. You're not sitting around pretending to be busy while scrolling a feed. You are truly building your life, your body, your career. This genuine busyness is the source of your value, not a pathetic imitation. You become a person whose attention must be earned, not received upon first request. This creates an aura of high status that naturally attracts and inspires respect. You need self-discipline. Every cell in your body wants to reply to her immediately, to be available 24/7, because instinct screams, answer, immediately, win her over, don't lose her. Discipline is the ability to act from logic and common sense, not from the fear of loss. You must place your priorities above the momentary desire for her approval. This is called impulse control, and it is one of the main signs of a mature personality. You learn to defer immediate gratification for the sake of long-term victory and the preservation of your self-respect. Your life must have such weight that her presence is merely a pleasant bonus and not the axis around which everything revolves. Only when she sees that your world will not collapse without her attention will she begin to value it genuinely. And here is the main paradox. The moment you are internally ready to walk away is the moment she will start running after you. Not because you threaten or give ultimatums, but because it has become a fact of your existence. This internal shift requires no words. It is transmitted through your energy and confident behavior. When you sincerely do not need her yes, when you are happy even in solitude, that is when you become magnetically attractive. Your internal independence leaves her with no choice but to respect you. Your self-sufficiency becomes the strongest aphrodisiac. She sees not a needy boy whose mood depends on her, but a complete man who must be earned. Abundance mentality. Stop acting as if she is your last chance on earth. Do not allow yourself to fall into this dependency. This scarcity mentality makes you weak, anxious, and consequently unattractive. It causes you to catastrophically overstate her significance and, conversely, underestimate your own, which is instantly felt. You start trembling over her every word, afraid that she will disappear. You voluntarily give her power over your emotional state. You turn her into your idol and yourself into a petitioner. When you know you have options, you stop being desperate and needy. You stop analyzing her every message and every comma because your attention and energy are spread across other, equally interesting options in your life. Your focus is on self-development and possibilities, not on waiting. This internal relaxation is the main ingredient of attraction. You start radiating calm confidence, not anxious need. Here's a practical exercise. Date multiple women. This is not for the purpose of deceit or to become a playboy, but for your brain to practically realize, I have choices. This desensitizes your mind to the fear of loss and to the anxious attachment to a single object. Your psyche stops seeing her as the sole source of happiness and approval. Dating multiple women naturally forces you to stop obsessing over any single one. You no longer put her on a pedestal because you see that the world is full of other worthy women. You reply when it is convenient for you, based on your schedule. You suggest dates that fit into your calendar, instead of adjusting to hers. In this way, you put your time and your resources first. Your value in your own eyes grows, and this is instantly perceived by others. They feel your internal freedom and confidence. You no longer emit vibrations of need and desperation. Finally, you become a self-sufficient center of gravity. It is this new, confident state that becomes your main asset. Emotional independence and your mission. The second she becomes the sole source of your happiness and emotional fulfillment, you have lost before the game even began. You have literally given her the remote control to your emotional state, making yourself completely dependent on her mood and decisions. This is the most dangerous position a man can be in. You become an emotional hostage to her presence. Your life turns into waiting for her call or message. Your true, unshakable happiness must depend on your achievements, your professional growth, your self-development, and your mission. She should complement your rich life, not be your life entirely. She should be the delicious cherry on the cake, not the flour and butter from which you frantically try to bake it all from her alone. Your inner world must be self-sufficient and whole. Many men make a tragic mistake. They abandon everything for a woman. They stop going to the gym, forget their friends, neglect their career and hobbies. 6 months later, they turn into a pale shadow of their former selves and are genuinely surprised why she lost interest. They don't understand that attraction cannot live in a vacuum and feed on need alone. She fell in love with a man who had a life, not one who made her his life. You yourself destroyed the very personality that initially attracted her. As a result, she simply finds you uninteresting. A man must have a mission. Building a business, mastering a new skill, getting his body in shape, engaging in creative work. Something that demands your focus and makes you get up in the morning regardless of whether she texted you yesterday or not. Conduct this mental experiment. Tomorrow she leaves forever. What will you do? If your honest answer is, I don't know, my life will fall apart, you lack an internal core and direction. Your mission must be so powerful and rooted that her departure will be painful, but will not stop your forward movement. This is the true, unshakable foundation. Only then do you maintain your internal strength. How to make her fear loss. The fear of loss is not created by empty threats, ultimatums, or manipulation. It is born from the realization that you are a valuable asset who generates his own energy and resources, and not a needy appendage trying to feed off someone else's. This is the key difference between a man as center and a man as satellite. Your value is your internal currency that cannot be devalued. When you have your rich life, your unconditional value, and your mission, the fear of loss arises in her naturally and organically. It is not something you verbally instill in her. It is something she feels and reads by observing your internal integrity and self-sufficiency. She sees that your schedule is filled with things that are important to you, and her presence in that schedule is only an option, not a vital necessity. Your attention becomes a deserved reward, not a guaranteed right. You become the resource, not the person seeking the resource. She understands perfectly well. If she doesn't value you and respect your boundaries, you will leave. And you will leave not because you said so, but because it is an obvious truth dictated by your self-respect. Your life is too valuable to spend it on someone who shows neglect. You set the standard for how you are to be treated. One of my clients allowed himself to be walked all over for years, endlessly trying to negotiate. Eventually, he stopped talking and simply started living. He took up his own projects, resumed contact with friends, and returned to the gym. He intentionally and completely stopped making her the center of his universe, becoming the center of his own. This internal shift was louder and more convincing than any words he had spoken for years. 3 months later, she approached him herself and asked, "What can I do to make you happy?" She realized he was no longer her running fan, and she had to earn a place in his new, thriving world. The fear of loss only works when the loss is real, not hypothetical. The mindset reframe, the final shift. Stop thinking in the paradigm of need. How do I keep her and not lose her? Start thinking in the paradigm of abundance. Is she worthy of my valuable time and resources? Does she meet my standards? This shift fundamentally changes the entire power dynamic. Stop asking, "What does she want me to give her?" Ask, "What do I want from this relationship and from my partner?" In this moment, you stop being led and become the leader. You become the filter that evaluates, not the petitioner who awaits approval. This is not selfishness, it is self-respect, which is, damn it, incredibly attractive. You do not need to resort to manipulation to force her to be afraid. You need to become the man she will naturally and instinctively fear losing. Build your business, build your body, build your unique lifestyle. Pursue your global mission. Invest in yourself, because you are your best asset. Every hour invested in yourself is a brick in the foundation of your impregnability and internal core. She must clearly see that your life is speeding forward at full throttle, with or without her. Your locomotive cannot stop because of one carriage. The biggest mistake is trying to buy her security with your excessive, disproportionate investments. You are literally paying her with attention and time for her to stay, turning the relationship into a pathetic transaction where you are always losing. Remember, security does not create attraction. It creates boredom and neglect. Attraction is created by challenge, value, purpose. When you become truly valuable, when you know your worth and show that you are happy alone, that is when she will finally realize that she is unhappy without you. Only then, realizing your complete self-sufficiency, will she truly begin to fight for your attention and a place in your life. You become the prize, not the pursuer. Now it's your turn. What happened when you stopped buying the relationship and started valuing yourself? How did the dynamic change when you focused on your mission and stopped making her the center of your world? Tell us what her reaction was when your attention stopped being guaranteed and total. Describe the specific moment when you realized you had crossed the line of desperate investments and decided to stop. And most importantly, how exactly did she react when you shifted the focus back to your life and your goals? Was it anxiety, interest, or even respect? Share your experience in the comments. Don't hesitate to share your mistakes and your victories. Your story is an invaluable push that can change someone's life right now. Let's help other men understand that the only way to be valued is to be valuable, not available. Your real-life examples are the best proof that this principle works. If this video was useful to you and you want more content that strengthens your character and mindset, be sure to subscribe to the Psycheria channel so you don't miss the next videos.